To the northeast of the South American continent, there lies a unique world. For a small country, Guyana has a remarkable variety of species and landscapes. And plenty of room for animals. Plenty of room for people, too. But here in the southwest, few take it up. This land may seem empty and neglected. And yet these landscapes are brimming with life. On the map, Guyana offers 3 completely different habitats, each with its distinct flora and fauna. To the north, the coast, constantly threatened by wind and waves. In the center, seemingly endless rainforest. And to the southwest, the broad savanna stretches away to the horizon. The few humans who live here, farmers and stock breeders, are constantly combating the extremes of drought and flooding. The dry season brings aridity and searing heat. Grasslands stretching away, peppered with stands of trees and islands of forest. The wet season transforms the savanna into a land of lakes. People have learned to cope with these extremes, whether ranchers or farmers. They mostly belong to the indigenous tribes, leading a self-sufficient life between tradition and modernity. Animal life doesn't exactly announce itself here. The biggest herbivores, at least in numbers, are not these horses. These scattered dolmen are evidence that most life goes on out of sight, under the earth. Termites. Eyeless termites are unrelated to ants, but they're social insects with a similarly structured state. Workers build the nest, fetch the food, and look after the young, while the soldiers defend it against invaders. But unlike ants, there are both female and male termites. Every termite queen has her king. Termite mounds are chimneys, ventilating and cooling the nest that extends far underground. Each colony can house millions of termites. Though for the cattle, they're hardly noticeable. Local cowboys are called Vaqueros. Each brings his own cattle to the common herd, grazing freely on the savanna. They've come across a young, unbranded calf. Each man knows his own cattle. They're with them every day. The cattle are their living, their mobile bank accounts. A healthy steer can be worth $1,000 US. If they need cash, they catch one and sell it. So each new member of the herd is soon identified and claimed. Once a year, they gather up the herd in the big roundup. Days of tough work. Young animals are branded in the corral while steers are selected for market. Dangerous work. These animals are strong and they like their freedom. Just like the Vaqueros, who ride barefoot and never use gloves. What counts here is experience and cooperation. Only steers will be sold. Cows stay with the herd, along with the calves. They are the Vaqueros' capital. Roundup completed, the cows are allowed back into the savannah. The selected steers wait on the spot for the great trek to start. The Vaqueros will set out tomorrow to the mountain villages to sell their steers for the best price they can get. The day starts at dusk for one of the savannah's few big wild inhabitants, the anteater. After sleeping through the heat of the day, it's on the lookout for its favorite and almost its only food. Termites. Anteaters are loners. There may be no others for kilometers around. Their unusual bone structure enables them to stand upright. From nose to tail, they can measure more than 2 meters. They can't see well and locate their prey by its scent. They eat nothing but termites and ants. The small anteater, or tamandua, is arboreal. It lives in trees. Like its bigger relative, it plunders termites' nests, but this one does a lot more damage. First, tearing deep holes with its long, curved claws. Only then will it deploy its elongated jaws and 40-centimeter tongue. Another relative, the armadillo, has been awakened by the row. It's been using part of the termite's nest as a burrow. Now it too sets out for its breakfast. While the tamandua takes a break, the termites have had enough and ward it off with a concerted chemical attack. Armadillos eat insects, but not exclusively. They like grasses and fruit too, climbing on their hind legs to sniff out the food. The worker termites are already starting to repair the damage. They produce a secretion to glue fragments of earth into a stable wall, part of their defense against their enemies, the ants, and also against nearby termite colonies. They must close up all the holes as soon as possible. Next morning, the Vaqueros make an unwelcome discovery. One of their steers is missing. They can't work out if it broke loose of its own accord. In any case, it's a serious loss. They'll have to go out and look for it. Right now, they have no clues. Elmo is the oldest and most experienced of the Vaqueros. If anyone can find a missing steer, it's him. He's riding to the lookout point. Those vultures are a bad sign. But they're the best chance of finding the steer. It's been killed by a jaguar. Powerless on his own, Elmo calls the others. The steer probably snapped its rope, wandered away, and fell victim to the predator. Only when the others arrive will Elmo approach the carcass. One man on his own would be defenseless against the jaguar. Jaguars mainly live in the nearby mountains, but they often come down to the edge of the savannah to hunt. The Vaqueros have no choice but to carve up the steer on the spot. At least they'll get to use the meat. They don't want to take revenge on the jaguar. He's part of life on the savannah, and he has the right to hunt for his share. Nothing stands still here. The remaining steers are hurrying to the mountains, where the villagers are already waiting for their meat. This is their last steep journey. The savannah isn't parched everywhere. The annual rainy season leaves behind ponds and lakes, nurseries for the animals that live on and in the water. The Victoria amazonica, the giant water lily. It blossoms for only 2 nights. The flower and the leaves are protected by thorns. It's usually found in Amazonia. It's a rarity here, as this river system has no link to the Amazon basin. The ribs on its underside will support a weight of up to 60 kilos. One day, this young anaconda will be far too heavy for it. The anaconda loves the water where it's most mobile, the perfect environment for it to hunt. Like the water lilies, these young black caiman aren't among the original inhabitants. They're both here because of the rainy season. Even at this tender age, the reptiles are skilled hunters. From the moment they hatch, they must feed themselves. But they haven't been abandoned. Their mother is always close by to help if danger threatens. Black caiman originated in the Amazon basin. The floods of the rainy season formed a kind of bridge to bring them to Guyana. The Rio Branco river system is connected to the Amazon basin, while the Essequibo, Guyana's greatest river, flows away to the north. Geologically, the two are not connected. For now, heat and aridity dominate. Beyond the ponds, the earth is parched. The dry season is reaching its peak. The anaconda found a hollow in the nearby undergrowth, but it can't stay here long. Beyond a certain size, it can only survive in the water. This is the start of a precarious, slithering trek through a steaming and scorched landscape. Staying on land, it would be crushed by its own weight, and it would suffocate. It must find a new pond. Even in the shadow of the copses, the ponds are scarcely more than mud. 60 centimeters tall at the shoulder, capybaras are the world's biggest rodents. They usually live in open grassland. But this mud cools them and protects them from parasites. This water is too shallow for an anaconda. It must search on. Its sense of smell alone will direct it now. Eustace, a farmer from the next village, has come to the marshes to find the moko plant. He has a commission from the women of the village to plat a matapi, a kind of sieve. For that he needs the stalks of the moko. They only grow in the damp hollows of the ponds. The long, flexible fibers are ideal for plaiting. Among these tribes, men are responsible for building houses and constructing tools and everyday utensils. The homesteads are owned by the women, who also work in the fields and tend the animals. Eustace now has more than an hour's walk home. Here, in these small, humid islands of trees, lives the spectacular Guyanan cock of the rock. His bright orange plumage serves one purpose only: to attract females. To that end, he has prepared a stage and swept it free of fallen leaves and twigs. He's not alone. The competition has turned up. But of females, there's no sign. The cock of the rock noisily makes his presence felt. Could this be the right female? Our hero enters the stage, and the show begins. First, he displays his glowing rear end to whet her appetite. Next step, she examines him. He does his utmost. By hopping, he shows off his feathers to best advantage. A sideways glance, and she flies away. She'd rather gather palm fruits. The spurned suitor senses his rejection. He must improve his technique. But however much he puffs himself up, nothing doing. She already has young. Her nest with its 2 chicks is squeezed into a crack in the rocks. And the male is already building himself up for the next round. In Eustace's village, the women are harvesting cassava. This very nutritious plant is also known as manioc. Only the root is eaten. But cassava contains toxic hydrocyanic acid, cyanide. To make it edible, it must be processed. This is also women's work. A full basket weighs at least 30 kilos. All the farmers here are self-sufficient, and all the heavy work is shared by the community. After school, Abini helps her mother with the harvest. Meanwhile, Eustace starts work on the matapi.
If you want to be my son-in-law, let me squeeze your ears a little bit. This one green. This one green. This one green. Moving. You see this one? This one broad. Sing, sing, sing.
It takes several hours to make a sieve.
There's no something you have to watch through, go through. This is not good.
The villagers live in family smallholdings, a little way from one another. Chickens, ducks, and papayas growing on the surrounding trees complete their daily diet. Eustace starts by plaiting a giant tube. Later, it will be filled with cassava pulp. This unusual way of weaving creates a tube that's elastic and flexible. It plays a crucial part in processing the cassava root. To remove the cyanide, it has to be finely grated and then pressed. According to legend, this technique was inspired by an anaconda digesting its prey. The bloated snake stretches itself lengthways to squeeze out the nutrients. The juice has a use too, to make a spicy sauce. Or they ferment it to brew parakari, a mildly alcoholic drink. The pressed manioc is sieved and dried. This sieve too is woven out of mokomoko fibers.
Like this now, come. Raise it up. I still want that card. Come. See this pan? So big. Cassava bread, curry, like this, you see? The pan big. this first Christmas drink. This. See? You want to try? You want to put your hand right there? Just like this, slowly. You see, and then you want back like this. See?
And the heat now evaporates the deadly cyanide. The result is flatbreads that will stay good for weeks. Apart from her house, every woman owns an open kitchen. It keeps the heat of cooking bearable and lessens the risk of fires. Now the new matapi is ready. Eustace brings the commissioned implement to his niece Abini.
Do you remember you asked me to plot matapi for you? Okay, this is what I made for you. And this was she. It is big for you. We got one small one right here. This one here. It can fit you to turn cassava bread over. This one you could use it to fan your fire. Alright? Cassava bread. This one you could use it to fan fire.
At the peak of the dry season, bushfires break out. They're important for the renewal of the savannah. They keep the forest at bay, helping the grasses grow, while their ash is an effective fertilizer. In its search for water, the Anaconda has reached a dead end. At the edge of the fire, raptors and vultures are waiting for the animals that weren't quick enough to make their escape. Savannah hawks arrive from every which way. Even though there's plenty of prey, fights break out where the predators gather. But in the end, there'll be enough for everyone. Now, heat and drought are claiming victims everywhere. The giant anaconda is one of them. The colorful king vulture has first dibs. He's just the biggest of the scavengers. Turkey vultures and other relatives are here too. By March and April, even the biggest ponds have dried to mudholes. Today, Emily is on the way to Bina Hill. She has an appointment at the local radio station. The station is the only source of information for villages separated by many kilometers. The region has no TV, internet, or a daily newspaper. As headmistress of a local school, Emily is one of many volunteers who produce the radio programs. Radio Paibomac is one of the only stations in South America run by indigenous peoples. It makes educational programs and regional news. It broadcasts in English, Makushi, and 3 other indigenous languages.
And coming back.
When we cross out, we start with the ones.
Michael Williams is presenter, newsreader, and head of music.
So, you will cross out how many marbles? 2!
Many teachers like Emily support him with reports from their villages. He takes the main news from the station in the capital city, Georgetown.
The first broadcast began at 14 hours. What is Radio Paimac? The word Paimac is an acronym made up in parts from the acronym was given by Mr. Adam Nash of Anai village from 3 mountains, namely Parime Mountain, Iwokrama Mountain, and Makarapang Mountain. Radio Paimac was set up to improve communication, to maintain Amerindian culture, educate people, and keep communities entertained.
Okay, as Guyana experiences climate change, Radio Paimac 97.1 Bin FM was proud to record a recording of the Bin Hill Institute for Learning students, the first climate change song ever sung in Guyana, and we're so happy to promote it.
And at last, the first rain in months. Relief for people and for nature. The capybara emerge from the shadow of the undergrowth and return to their grazing lands. These are hard times for the vultures. Where the fires were, the first shoots appear. The savannah is turning back into grassland. The waterholes are filling up as life returns. And now, for the next 6 months, the savannah will be a land of lakes. Water hyacinths soon cover great parts of the surface. Supported by their air-filled stalks, they float tightly packed side by side. The whole region has become a wetland. The capybaras cross the open grassland. Living in small herds, they're active throughout the day and in the evening. They spend lots of their time at the water holes. Capybaras are well adapted to life in the water. Just like the caiman, their eyes, ears and nostrils are located high in their head, so they're hard to spot in the water and can make the most of the buoyancy of their bodies. Their webbed toes make them quick and agile swimmers. Jabiroos, too, benefit from the fresh bodies of water. At 1 meter 40 tall, they're the storks of South America. They eat small fish and amphibians. These shallow water holes are ideal hunting grounds. Jabiroos live together in groups, using their 30-centimeter long bills to fish prey out of the shallow waters. Males and females differ in size and eye color. South American kingfishers are bigger than their European cousins, but they have an identical fishing technique. This snippet will satisfy him for a couple of hours at most. The cattle use the waters to wash the dust off their hooves. The Jabiroos don't gather in colonies, but in small family groups with 2 to 4 young. Their wingspan can reach 2.5 meters. More rain clouds approaching, heralding a heavy storm. Now the rain won't stop for days. Anyone who can flees to the trees. Soon the savannah is a single great lake. Rainbow boas and capybaras now have room to spread out. Tapirs love to swim. Others have no choice. The anteater is looking for higher ground. All the savannah's animals developed strategies to cope with the extreme situation. But the flood still claims its victims. The effort of swimming was too much for this tamandua. The floods test the human population too. Tearing away bridges and destroying roads. Tracks become impassable. Cars get stuck. And the only way to move around is by boat. In the village, the women try to save saturated cassava plants. The roots are very tough and can withstand both flood and drought. But this year, the waters are exceptionally high. As fast as possible, they dig a new field and replant the cassava. But now the cayman and giant water lilies really benefit. Until well into the 18th century, maps of the savannah depicted a mysterious body of water, Lake Parime. This is the explanation. When the floods are high enough, the waters create a bridge between the Essequibo and the Amazon. Two great river systems are briefly linked. That gave the cayman and the giant water lily the chance to migrate here from the south, and both have spread across Guyana's rivers and lakes. Lake Parime was always believed to be the figment of a cartographer's imagination. One scientist would describe it, the next would search for it in vain. But the truth is this: Lake Parime comes and goes with the seasons. Only those who arrive in the rainy season will get to witness its miracles.